Welcome. Today I want to continue with my little discussion about meditation that I began yesterday, and I want to try to make it perfectly clear why it's so important. A special meditation. Okay? Not any meditation, a special meditation. Actually, the kind of meditation that was known, to some of the Christian mystics. And they tried to tell us about it, and something got lost in the translation, or what they had to say was lost or suppressed. Nevertheless, down through the ages, certain of the mystics have written about a way of living and moving and having your being, a way of praying, a way of, they use terms like contemplation, or they use terms like prayer of the heart, and they knew what they were talking about. So what I would like to do, I would like to tell you what they would tell you, except in modern language, up to date and simple. One of the things that I like so much about Madame Guyon, there was a very nice lady, a Christian mystic, a spiritual lady, a spiritual writer. Her book about finding God through prayer is a spiritual classic. It's been translated in various titles. A Short and Easy Method of Prayer, Spiritual Progress is a title that you see quite a bit. Finding God Through Prayer, Discovering the Depths of Jesus Christ. I've seen that title. But one of the things that she said, she was a nice lady, she lived in around 1700, and she tried to tell you, us, everyone, about a very simple way of finding the presence of God. And one of the things that she said that I like so much was that she said, anybody can do this. Anybody can do it. You don't have to study. Let me repeat that so you don't miss it. I said it yesterday, and I don't think I say it quite enough. Let me say it again so you don't miss it. You don't have to study. You don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to memorize the Bible. You don't have to study the Bible. You don't have to study any special works. See? You don't have to belong to any group. You can learn this little method of finding the presence of God. Now, of course, it doesn't work for everyone, because for some people that's the last thing that they want. See, what is people's main problem, other than the fact that they're lost between their ears? They're prideful. They want to be God. They don't want to know God. They want to be God. See, and if you want to be God, if you want to play God by lording it over other people with knowledge, impressing people, if you want to be like God, who's a king and a judge, and you want so on your kingly side you want praise, you like to be praised and admired and respected, okay? And when people don't praise or admire or respect you, then you resent them, and then you condemn them. So now you become the judge. See? So you're a king or a judge, playing God. Not only that, but you judge other people. You go around secretly forming judgments. You see their wrongs. See, you don't say anything usually. You secretly see their wrongs and you judge them for it. Just as they see your errors and they judge you. But on the surface, you're both smiling. But underneath, you're judging each other, see? Well, it's a nasty little game, but it's playing God. Because your knowledge is incomplete. See, that's why Christ said, judge not, lest you be judged. See, there's a difference between discerning and judging. Discerning is when you simply see an error. If it is an error, see, we become so judgmental and so lost in our thoughts that we sometimes think someone is making an error when they're really not. Okay? But if it is an error, then it's okay to discern it. That's simple. It's like if someone is doing a math problem, you're the math teacher, someone's doing a math problem and they make a mistake. Well, you see the mistake. You discern the mistake. And then you point it out. See, it's very simple. There's no judgment involved. Okay? But in life, many people have a very difficult time discerning. They can't, their ego somehow can't resist adding a pinch of judgment, a pinch of resentment. See, a pinch of condemnation, because that way they puff up a little bit, see? See, we leap at the opportunity. We watch for someone else to do something not quite right, or for someone else to be a little bit rude maybe, or a little bit inconsiderate, and then we puff up and judge them. See, so we're playing God. So what I was going to say is, if you're playing God, then that puts you in conflict with the real God, who you are playing. And so the last thing anyone who's playing God wants to do is to encounter the presence of God, because they would be, see, their little game would come to an end, and they would be exposed for the fraud that they are and for the nothing that they are. So you would see your nothingness in relation to His greatness, that sort of thing. So someone who's determined to remain prideful, which some people are, or someone who doesn't want to admit they're wrong. See, now it's the other thing. Okay? So, it's easy for us to judge other people. We see their mistakes. Okay? But how about our own? That's the hard part, is seeing your own mistakes. Do you see yourself resenting other people? Do you see yourself being a little bit phony? Do you catch yourself being impatient with your children? Etc., etc. See? Being a little bit dishonest with people. Messing with their perception. When they see the truth about you, you do a quick about face and quickly change the subject or make an excuse to try to make yourself look good and innocent, see? So catching yourself doing those things and then knocking it off, well, that's another thing. So, once again, if a person doesn't want to admit they're wrong, then they won't want to come into the presence of God, who is good, see, and whose light shines upon things and reveals things for what they are. However, if you've made a bunch of mistakes in your life, but now you're coming to see that you have, and you're sorry that you have, and you don't want to make the same mistakes anymore, you've messed some things up, especially relationships, by being resentful and being angry, see, and now you don't want to be angry anymore, and you don't want to be resentful anymore, and you want to know the truth, and you're willing to admit the truth. Okay, well then that's the right kind of attitude. Then the meditation will work for you, the kind of meditation that Madame Guyot, see, and there are others. I'm just focusing on mentioning her name now to keep it simple. She talked about, okay? Now, what it is to be able to sit quietly and to observe your thoughts without being lost in your thoughts. See, the way you make your judgments of other people, the way you lord it over them in your mind, and the way you plan and scheme to make yourself look good, see, and think about the past and try to rearrange things to make yourself look innocent, and the way you plan and scheme to reach goals and so you can achieve and make a name for yourself and all this kind of stuff, okay? Well, you do it in your thoughts, thinking, imagining, see, scheming, daydreaming, planning, or worrying. See, worrying is faithless. See, so you're faithlessly struggling with your own problems. Well, that's worry. So what you need to do is to step back from that. Step back. So you can observe thoughts without being lost in the thoughts. And then observe your emotions. See, some of your emotions lie to you. See, they're always telling you that you're wonderful and you're good and you're hard done by and people don't appreciate you and other people are mean and rude and inconsiderate and see, that sort of thing, right? Your emotions are always lying to you. So you need to stand back from them so you can see the emotions. Okay, there they are, but now you have a little mental distance from them instead of escaping into them. So that's very simple. So if you become still, in the Bible, God said, "Be still and know that I am God." If you become still And then instead of knowing yourself as God, doing all this judging and planning and scheming and worrying and conniving and in your mind, then you are in the present moment, and then you're close to the light, God's light, which shines upon things. And that's simple. That's what the meditation is. So it's like a prayer, really. If you have the attitude of wanting to know the truth, and like I've said many times, when I approach a new situation, there are a lot of moments where nothing is required. You get up and you go brush your teeth, and you open the window a little bit and make your bed and put on your socks. Nothing is required. But when you go out in the world and you encounter people, then sometimes something is required of you. The moment is important. And some moments are very important. A little interaction with your child or with your partner. It could, whether you handle it properly or not, could make all the difference in the world. Okay? You remember when you were a child and your parents didn't get it right? You remember how that, or someone said something and you never forgot it, Didn't they said something mean or cruel, So these little moments are important. So something is required of you. Or maybe something should be said. Okay? And you've always clammed up and said nothing. Well, now you need to say something, but you need to say it right, without anger, without judgment. Just innocently say the truth. So something is required. Other times, to overlook. Someone makes a little mistake, and you overlook graciously. Instead of judging, instead of condemning, you let it pass and overlook. Something is required of you. Oh, like I said, when I approach a situation like that, I don't know what to say and I don't know what to do. I don't know what the right thing is to say or the right thing is to do. So I haven't pre-planned anything. I enter the moment with fresh eyes, so I don't have any preconceived judgment. And I'm observant. I'm watchful. I'm observant. Okay? But I don't know what the right thing to do. And then all of a sudden it becomes clear to me that something is required. Okay? It's a special moment of some sort. Well, then I make a quiet inquiry of my intuition, of my conscience. In other words, of the inner light from God. And I stand there, and I don't know what to say, and I don't know what to do, but I want to do the right thing. Deep in my heart, I want to do the right thing. That's important. In other words, I want what's right to prevail, not who's right. And I get my ego out of the way, and I stand there innocently and don't know what to say, and then all of a sudden, I do know. I say something or do something, and it's right. Okay? Or nothing is required of me other than just to watch. And then I don't say anything, and that's what I'm supposed to do. And I don't do anything, and that's what I'm supposed to do. Nothing. You see how simple that is? Well, that's you can have that, and that's also called having faith. You can have that by learning to practice the meditation and get close to God's light, His intuition, which is wordless. It's what you know in your heart. It's called your intuition or common sense or gut level knowing. And then you go out in the world with that, and then you start to get things right. You start handling things right. Instead of in the past where you always messed everything up. And then you have to go hide in your thoughts, or hide in alcohol or marijuana, or bury yourself in work or video games or something to escape from seeing the truth about how you had messed up. Now you won't have to go and escape anymore, because now you'll handle things properly. Maybe not perfectly at first, but better. And then better. And as the weeks, months, and years go by, better and better. As you grow in perfection. In the past, you were deteriorating. You were degrading. You were getting worse and not better. But now, in the light, you can revive, like a plant who puts up his leaves for the sunlight. you can revive in God's light, which is your proper environment anyway for your soul. And then in His light, then you begin to live properly. You live in the light. Live and move and have your being in the light. Okay? And then your whole life changes for the better. Okay? It all begins with a simple meditation, where you get up in the morning, drag yourself to a chair, and sit down and meditate. So your whole life changes for the better. And it all begins with a change of attitude. Now wanting to know the truth instead of be the truth. See? And where you're humble enough to recognize that there's something greater than yourself. Okay? And to be willing to admit when you're wrong. See? And like that. So with that attitude, and then with a little meditation, you get up in the morning, you drag yourself to somewhere to sit. First thing, you drag yourself to a place to sit and meditate for 5 minutes. And then at lunch, at noontime, you do it for 5 minutes. In the evening, 5 minutes. See? And then you carry the light that you get, that you download when you're meditating. You carry that with you out in the world, and everything starts to change for the better. Okay? All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little lecture, and we'll talk more about meditation, perhaps, Lord willing, of course, in my next little talk.